All right. So we're going to be welcome. We're going to do Voices of Integrity in the training. And so we work, man, is there a lot of work to identify, targets, and then you develop and deliver a message. This is really important. So, like the Grant Bishop principle, hopefully you all know that one. And so write it down because it may not make a difference to you now, but it will in the future. And so identify targets, develop and deliver a message. We track 100% lead. We go through, ask questions. We go through, ask questions. We do a business x-ray. So we sell them on that. We make the sale. Now they become in servicing. But we're working on selling them in action vision. And so, um, and so, so we had an opportunity, and Nora's never been trained in this before. But now we're doing the training in this. The challenge is that often it's hard to learn something until we experience it. Anyone have any questions?
So
No.
how do you go ahead and experience it without knowing what you're doing?
How do I do that? Not entirely sure how my mind does that. I think I trick my mind into I think I trick my mind and say, Mark, if you don't pay attention, like there's two ways to learn. And that is you learn from mistakes that you make or you learn from mistakes other people make. And so and so this comes from years, decades of training. And so fortunately for us, we've got a new training system, the Life GPS podcast training system. So we've never had this before. Now we have it. So now we can train at a very precise level. And so somebody should go through, somebody who's selling business x-rays, you need to go through this training because you're going to have this. It's not a matter of if, it's not a matter of if you're going to have it happen. It's just a matter of when and how frequently. So we had an appointment today with somebody. We did a business x-ray. And I don't remember, but I got to tighten up on my I got to tighten up on my sales disciplines. And so, do any of you see what I missed? I didn't rate how strong he was. And so my guess is I was thinking he was a 7 or 8. Nora, were you part of that?
Yeah.
Would you agree that he was a 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, as best as I can remember, I don't remember him. I would when I heard his voice. So he calls at 6 o'clock in the morning ish, or he texts Nora and says, "Hey, I want to cancel. We're not interested in going forward." So Nora's text response to him is absolutely critical. And so if she responds in the best way, it's not guaranteed that the sale is going to be turned around, flipped, but it increases the statistical probability that it will. So if she responds in not the most effective way, it's like a 90% chance or 100% chance that we're going to lose the sale. Not necessarily permanently, but maybe likely. And so we thought we had a sale and then we didn't. And so again, Nora's never been trained. Now, maybe she has, but I'm pretty sure she hasn't in this. And so, but now we're training her, which is kind of sad because it's after the fact, but she'll run into this again as well, Katrina and everybody else. So she has literally, she literally has um, seconds to respond. Now, because it's a text, it's not a phone call, she has more time to respond. So that was like, I don't know, an hour ago. So looking back on the hour ago, so when we look at this here, the moment that we're in, is yesterday's future and tomorrow's past. And so a lot of lessons can be learned very close. So I love that this happened. This is like you couldn't get a better training situation. So thinking back an hour ago, would you have done anything different given an hour to think about it, Nora?
Not sure.
Okay. So Elaine or Rosanna, what was the text that he texted you?
Yeah. He said, "Good morning, Nora. Hey, we decided to pass on the business coaching. Thank you for your time."
Gotcha. And then what was your response to him?
I said, "Okay, not a problem. Do you still want to keep your meeting with Mark today at 1 to go over any additional questions on the business x-ray?" And he said, "Probably not. I'm sorry, we might later, but as of right now, we can't."
Okay. So do you see anything now that you didn't see an hour ago or not?
Not sure.
Elaine and Rosanna, do either of you see anything that Nora's not seeing?
I probably would have encouraged him to still keep the appointment and have you talk to him and see if there's other ways around what he's facing now, or if there's ways that we can help that.
Do any of you know what the assumptive close is?
Yes. So
Can you quickly?
if she just said, you could still meet with Mark and have additional questions instead of asking him. You
Right. If
should
you
say.
ask him the question, you're giving him an option out. And then most of the time they're going to take just like he did. And so an assumptive close it's what your children do. Mom, I can have a popsicle, right? That's an assumptive close. It's not, Mom, can I have a popsicle? It's like, it's not that. Children are great at sales. They just are. They're naturally wired to be salespeople. So if you go ahead and acquiesce and say, no problem at all. Actually, Mark is going to have Mark has some questions for you. Mark always has questions. So it's not lying. It's totally the truth. Mark has some questions for you. Mark always does. So you want to get him to have the appointment with me for multiple reasons. Even if we don't get the sale, we need to find out what happened. And so, if I remember correctly, he's Amish. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that can happen. They had an unexpected bill. They, had something else. And so there's always things that happen. So there might be a way around this. There might be a way, but at a minimum, we need to learn what's going on. So you want to get him on that appointment with me. So something closed, not a problem. I know Mark has a couple questions for you, so we'll look forward to talking to you at this time. You want to get them to talk to me. Questions on that, ladies? Any of you?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
So again, Nora's never. This is not a Nora issue. This is a Mark issue. And fortunately, I'm training Compass and Dreamscape in the same exact thing. Like they're having issues that come up and they don't have the live GPS. They're not utilizing that. Well, Mark, are you utilizing that? Obviously not as well as I should. But Katrina and Nora are helping me immensely. because there's these things that come up that I have these automatic responses that I know when this happens, this happens. When this happens, it's just reflex. It's just like driving a car. It's just like driving a car. And so when you wander off to the left, to the right a little bit, and you go off the side of the road, what's your immediate response?
Try to
Your
get back on the road quickly.
your reflex is to get back on the road. And what do you, if you don't overcome that reflex, what happens?
You're going to flip the car.
Well, you mean if you go into the ditch, okay? But if you don't discipline the reflex, what's going to happen? I'm glad Rosanna's on this, and Katrina, she got her car, and so anybody else is driving, your reflex response is to overreact. You overreact. You're like, oh no, and you overreact, and you end up either head-on collision with somebody in the opposite direction, or you go ahead and end up in the ditch in the other. You overcorrect. So when you feel the bumpy, you have to train your brain. Don't overreact. You don't just keep going into the ditch, but you don't overreact. In sales, it's the same thing. And so what I need to do is I need to somehow reverse engineer and say, Mark, take your 40 years of sales and break it down into pieces, and then you got to train it. Now, this is going to go in the training system, but are people going to go ahead? Are the salespeople going to listen to this? Are they going to internalize this? And the tendency is to overreact. So you acquiesce, you give in, and then you connect them with an experienced person, because the experienced person can flip them back, can bring them back around again. Ooh, this is good stuff. Anybody have any questions on this? It's really, 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 really important for people to go through this training before they have this experience. It's really, really important that people share a reflection on this. It's really, really important that somebody reviews that reflection to make sure they got it. Do you understand? You might do a role play, call them up and say, hey, Katrina, this is Mark, and we had an appointment and to go through with the x-ray, and we decided not to. So you test it, you build Katrina's reflex. Katrina's going to do this in the future with people that she trains. So she is trained at a far higher level than Nora. Why? Because we have a year of experience and we're learning a lot together. And Nora's training Katrina in things. And we have better systems and better technology and better everything. And then next generation after Katrina, people that come on 2-3 months after Katrina will be better trained than Katrina, because we're going to have all of this stuff, because we have the disciplines to say there's a better way. And here's the better way. Learn the better way before you have to use it, because it literally involves tens of thousands of dollars in sales. You're awesome, Nora. Good work. Love that we were able to train. Good work, Katrina, on this. Everybody remember, always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.